Hello everyone, my name is Sick and welcome to another ArmA-free Eden editor tutorial video. So today I wanted to cover landing a helicopter under enemy fire. And this is something I've learned to do quite recently in the last video that I did for ArmA, which is the video where I take a look at this new Norway map. I made a scenario right in this area where I land while taking fire at an enemy, or taking pot shots at an enemy and taking fire back from them, of course. And we managed to get the helicopter to land. But I never was able to do that because the AI generally seems to bug out when I tried earlier. But I found some stuff that helps with that. There are two different ways in which you can do this, by the way. I did also do a video on recording flight paths. And so if you look at that video, and I will link it in the description below if you want to take a look at it, you could basically take control of the helicopter in the editor, fly around and record where you fly and how you fly it, and then use that data to basically make a little animation for the helicopter to follow. And so that way, that is the most strict way in which you could do a insertion under fire, and basically that will look the same every time. But today we're going to take a look at how to do it using the AI. Alright, so we have our helicopter, a hummingbird. We're going to call it a name, Heli1. Right, the next thing that we're going to need is under props, and it is an invisible helipad. So I'm just going to type down helipad, and as you can see we have several, but the one we want is the invisible one. And we're going to place it on the ground right here. Now, one thing that is important to take a look at is the gradient of the terrain, because if you look here, there is an angle to it, and that is of course a terrible position to land a helicopter in, so you do have to be careful. You have to select a flat piece of ground, like right here would be fine. So we're going to place it down like so, open it up, give it a name like helipad 1, and even if you don't end up referencing this in triggers or anything like that, it is still useful to give these things names, because if you have multiple items and multiple invisible helipads, they're just going to show up in the empty list as helipad invisible. But giving it a name might give you the ability to keep better track, or finding stuff in your mission quicker. So I definitely recommend doing that all the time. Anyway, next thing is we're going to have to give people some waypoints. So where did my helicopter go? It's right there. Okay, let's select it, and we're going to give it a transport unload waypoint. We're going to place it right next to the helipad, and then we're going to give him a move waypoint, and we're going to place it somewhere way over there, so the helicopter will be nice and out of sight, and it won't hover on the horizon. Right, so what this will do, it will basically tell this guy to drop something, or his transport, drop them off at this location and to fly away. And you could eventually delete this helicopter as well. So what you could do is, once you reach this, or place a trigger there, you could delete the helicopter by using delete vehicle and then the name of the vehicle. If you're worried that the player was ever going to go over in that area and finds a hovering helicopter for eternity. So, that is something that we could recommend doing. Anyway, we're also going to take the team leader here, and we're going to give him a get out command. And we're going to place it here. And then we're going to give him some waypoints as well. Like in the video that I did, I made this scenario in this exact area. And I had them clear out this area, and then we had a farm over here. So I'm going to give him a waypoint over there, and a waypoint over there. Okay. Next thing is very important. We're going to link up these two waypoints. So right click, connect, set waypoint activation, and we're going to link it to this one. And that means that this group of infantrymen will work in coordination with the group inside the helicopter. If this is not linked up together, then these guys basically don't know that they have to work together, even if the infantry is inside of the helicopter. So that is something that is very important to do. Alright. Now there are some other things that we might want to do. And one of them is going to set the way in which it is going to land. And I think the way we want to do this is we're going to create a trigger of, let's say, 500 meters or something like that. We're going to place it like so, and once the helicopter enters it, we're going to activate it. Alright, so let's call it activate landing 1. Activation is going to be blue for present condition Heli 1 in this list, and this will look for the helicopter called Heli 1 in, you know, the area of the trigger. And on activation we will say Heli 1 land, and this will, you know, tell it to land somewhere. No, not somewhere, but it will tell them how to land. And there are 4 different commands that you can give them. And the one we're going to get is get out. Alright. There is also get in, which is if you have an extraction somewhere, then that's the one that you want. Get out is basically going to make the helicopter hover over the ground. Okay, so it's going to stay there with its engine active until the group gets out, and then it's going to fly away immediately. The other command that you can issue is land. Very simple, like so. And that will make sure that the helicopter lands, turns off its engine, and then basically does nothing until it wants to fly. There's the move waypoint after, so it's going to turn off its engine, then it's going to turn the engine on again, and then it's going to fly to its next waypoint. Probably. But that is of course terrible if you want to have an insertion under fire. So we're going to have the hover one, which is get out. And then the final command that you could give is none. And apparently that cancels the land command. But that is something that we definitely don't want to use. Right. Now, we have set all of this up. There's one final really important thing to this mission. And that is of course having some enemies, but also making sure that the helicopter doesn't get scared and flies away, because this one is defenseless. So actually what you can do, and we will, is we select the transport unload button and we will set the behavior to careless, which is apparently the same as safe, except that it will not be switched automatically after spotting a threat. Use with caution, player may perceive AIs in this behavior as defective. Yeah. So basically what this does is it just doesn't make the AI do anything. It's just going to walk around like nothing's going on. You know, there could be the biggest war in the ArmA universe ever, and it's going to fly around heedless of all the bullets flying around. However, this will often still lead to the helicopter hovering over the ground because it is uncertain on what to do, and that is because it still has a fleeing behavior. And by turning off the fleeing behavior, that is how you get the helicopter to land under fire. Because otherwise, there is a very big chance that the helicopter is just going to hover over the enemy and then decides to fly away somewhere else. Because, well, it's not going to engage combat, but it might still want to get away from the combat. You know, so that is something we definitely do not want. And let's see, we are going to open up Heli 1. And we're going to say this allow fleeing 0, I think. And this should make sure that this unit never flees from combat. And so now that it is set to careless, and it has the ability to never flee from battle, it should just land and do whatever you want. And we can of course test this. So let's say we will get a group of AAF soldiers, a fire team. Right, and we probably want to face them out towards the helicopter. Alright, and then of course our group is going to be inside the helicopter. And then finally, under attributes, general, we will make sure that the independent factions, which is what AAF is set to be attacking NATO. Now let's have a look at how all of this stuff plays out. Alright, so we're in the helicopter. It's quite loud. I can't switch to third person. But there we go, we enter combat. I can't fire back, unfortunately, because I'm on the wrong side of the helicopter. Oh, one of our pilots is dead. And it's taking its sweet bloody time. But it's going to land. It's going to ignore, and it's going to go down. As you can see. And everybody's just dying. Which is really, really horrible. Let's finish off these guys. I'm wounded apparently as well. I just want to get some combat here, finish these guys off, see if I don't die. Oh crap, well. Ah! I completely missed that guy. Oh well. Yeah, that brings me to another point. As you noticed, our pilot got shot dead, our helicopter can be destroyed, even the player can take damage. And this is not ideal. You know, you might be okay with that, actually. You know, that's totally fine. You could do that and it will work. But one thing we also want to make sure is that we have a good angle so that the player actually gets to fire his gun a little bit. And where the hell did you go? Jesus. Why can't I... Are you under the world? What? Right. That was a little bit strange. Alright. Let's take this angle, I suppose. This should be a little bit better. And actually, we're still going to be on the wrong side of the helicopter, but we can switch over to, let's say, the rifleman with the AT gun. Alright. So now this is our soldier. We will type this allow damage false. Okay, and this makes sure that the player will never take damage. Of course, we don't want this to go on forever, but we will do the same thing for the helicopter. This allow damage. Oh, damage. Damn it. False. Man, I have a typing disorder. All right. And then, of course, we might also want to do this for the helicopter pilots. So actually, they don't need a name. Damn it. Allow damage false. Right, that is the first helicopter. This allow damage false. Now, like I said, we don't want the player to be invulnerable forever. That would be terrible for gameplay. So what we want to do there is we're going to create another trigger. A smaller one. Like so. And we're going to give it a size. Right now it's set to -1, which means that it basically goes up into the sky forever, as you can see right here. That is very bad. We don't want this. We're going to set, let's say, a height of 5. Let's have a look. Now this is much better, because the player is going to land over here somewhere. And actually we could probably make it a little bit higher as well. Let's set it to 10 to make absolutely sure that the player will enter this trigger area. We will open it up. Call it vulnerability. Right. Activation will be blue for present. And that actually is enough. It doesn't need anything else. We can leave condition as this. As long as any blue for unit enters this trigger, you know, that's including the player, of course. So we can say player allow damage true. Alright, so the player is going to be invulnerable for as long as the helicopter ride takes. Until he is almost at the ground, at which point he can be killed, but at least he will have had a decent chance to fire at these enemies. And then once he's on the ground, he can continue on with the mission, and they won't be able to take any damage. So that's a quick little hack to get away with this sort of stuff. Anyway, I hope this was helpful to you guys. So please leave a like and a comment below if you did enjoy this content and wish to see more, and if you have any ideas on what other topics I might cover for you guys. Now, disclaimer, I don't know everything that there is to know about the ArmA engine and editing. But stuff like this I do know, or I can figure out at least, but you know, writing scripts on my own is something I'm not able to do. I don't understand how the scripts work exactly. I just understand, you know, that they work and how they can fit together, and I can usually get some decent results with it. So, you know, I might not be the end all, be all, or be all end all source of information for your ArmA editing needs, but well, I can certainly try. Alright, that's it for this video. So, like I said, please leave a like and a comment below if you enjoyed it and want to see more, and I'll see you guys whatever video I do next.